Randstad India Talent Pod presents Mind Matters.
Hi there, and welcome to Randstad India Talent Pod presents Mind Matters. My name is Neerja, and we are back with another very insightful and very important episode as we navigate through matters of the mind. Now, before we go into the specifics of this episode, let me tell you a little something about the guest we have today. Her name is Ankita Mehra, and she is Program Manager, Diversity, Inclusion, and Employer Brand at Xperi. She's also been listed as one of LinkedIn's top voices with 70,000 plus followers. She's been deemed a young achiever by Rotaract and has given over 300 plus sessions in corporates, schools and colleges to raise more awareness around the LGBTQ plus community. She's been a TEDx speaker twice, and I'm really happy that we get to pick her brain today on this show. So let's get to it. Ankita, hello and welcome to this episode of Mind Matters. It's great that we're able to dive into the importance of mental wellness within the queer community. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really excited for this podcast, Mind Matters, and this is the need of the hour for sure.
Absolutely. And as we speak about matters of the mind, Ankita, what is your general perception of the state of mind of the members from the community? Because there's a lot of stigma around mental health and further gender expression. It can be overwhelming for one person, right? So can you shine some light on the mental health struggles that people of the community face?
Yeah, I believe that we have been gifted the traumas from the whole world when we identify ourselves from the pride community, even though we are not even being out to ourselves. There's a world out there who creates a set of biases for people from the pride community. Taking an example, when you're growing up and you have a different set of gender expressions, you talk differently, and then your classmates, your teachers, they notice you and they definitely make some points about you. That makes you question your identity. I did have my own identity crisis for a long time, and I did not want this traumas in my life, but it was gifted because of the lack of awareness and sensitivity around this particular topic. So I agree to being a member from a pride community, we actually go through a lot of mental health issues, and there's lack of support as well. Like, we also get therapists who are not queer friendly. We also get friends who are not supportive. And when we try to approach a therapist, it takes a toll to even come out to the therapist as well, when you're not even come out to yourself, right?
Yeah.
As a struggle from a pride community, I would just say that we lack the safe space because the world is not ready to listen to us. We are afraid that we might lose people in life. And that constant fear definitely gives you a lot of anxiety. And I say it out of my experience that being a child, I lived every single day being in fear that there will be a day I'll, not be a member of this family. There'll be a day that all the relatives will be disappointed by me because just being me, I have not asked for it. I'm just born like this, and it's very difficult for people out there to understand this. So, being a part of LGBT community is definitely very, very difficult. And it was very, very difficult back then too, because we want people to love us, we want people to accept us, but there is a big time struggle to accept ourselves only because of the binaries in the world which make us question our own identity, our gender. And when we finally come out to ourselves, there's a whole world you have to face, and there's no stop to it, Neerja. It's just continuous process. There are times you have to come out on a daily basis and make people remind, hey, you are not straight, heterosexual, you are actually queer. I hope that it's there'll be a better day on this, and definitely takes a toll on your mental health. And also, past traumas comes with you even though you grow up and you have become something.
I think it's really interesting that you say that trauma is something that has been gifted. That's a whole new perspective, because yes, you have to carry it with you, but I think it's a gift in itself to have the courage and strength to be yourself. This is something that happens on a day-to-day, yes, but also when you enter a workspace, it's a whole new experience, right? Mm-hmm. And there are additional challenges that you need to deal with on top of, being a professional, but also how do you be yourself in that kind of an environment? And I'm sure there are so many challenges members of the community experience due to existing norms at the workplace. So what are some things organizations should consider in trying to make the workplace more inclusive? Maybe you can tell us about some of the challenges and how they can be countered?
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about joining as a fresher, right? Your job is your dream, when you get a job, it's just like telling yourself, hey, you have done something for all these years, worked so hard, and you finally in an organization, you should be so proud of yourself. But sometimes what happens is, just because you joined and you're kind of different than other people, there are a lot of background conversation which happens, and when you get to know about that, and when you feel that the other person is kind of uncomfortable about your presence, you feel that I don't, belong here. And that is the scenario, like mostly from a pride community that we go through. People are not comfortable with accepting the gender expressions that we have. People are not accepting that we are from the pride community and we are so confident. And there are a lot of discussions and questions and uncomfortable questions that a person from a pride community has to face. And when you're an experienced professional and you're joining a new organization, already you have so much anxiety going on that you have joined a new organization, how culture is going to be. And it's a deal of a pride community member. Like whenever they change a job, they have to make their own, chosen family. Every time that they go, they have to identify and create allies for themselves that, hey, they're going to make my survival in this organization a little easy. And that has been a scenario for a long time for multiple organizations. But I happen to be very lucky here, Neerja, right? Though my first few organizations, were not very, kind to me or accepting my gender, they were not at all sensitive towards my sexuality and how to, host a person from the pride community or help them. But after a point, I made a space for myself, and I'm glad that the things are changing, right? I have active allies in my organization. At Xperi, we have a proper ERG which is in place, and these ERGs might be a very small thing for any person out there. Hey, like, we have ERGs, wonderful. It's just a group, we just do events. But no, it's a world to us. It's a world to people from the pride community, because they can always reach out to these members and they can always seek help, and that kind of gives us a psychological security. But beyond that, there are a lot of struggles as well. The first struggle for any transgender person who steps in, they would see a gender split between male and female. And when they are like, okay, I don't want to reveal my gender, and it's not just with trans people, maybe non-binary people, agender people, they always feel that, hey, I have to fit into those two boxes, and forcefully I have to carry that with myself throughout my experience in this organization, which actually is very sad fact, and it actually makes you question your self-identity, and it's not a right place to be in. Apart from that, a lot of health insurances are just exclusive to heteronormative community. Like, you just assume that just because they're married, they can get married, they can share insurances, but that people from pride community can't get married, and legality doesn't support all of that. So that is kind of exclusive, and it makes, it happened with me back then. I used to feel really bad that the company I'm giving my best to, I'm giving my heart to, I don't even think that I have a future here, because their policies are not even made for me. Just imagine, will I be able to give my best?
Yeah.
So beyond that, policy plays a very important role for any queer person to be a part of the organization. This is the real struggle.
We talk about diversity and inclusion, but it just goes beyond having those conversations. It's in the little things, like you rightly pointed out. And unfortunately, intolerance is part of the human experience. I think everybody deals with it, and it's especially so for members of the queer community. So do you have any advice for someone from the community to navigate through intolerant and honestly just unacceptable behavior?
So my only suggestion to a person from the community is that, hey, you identify with a certain set of pronouns. That's your right. You can go ahead with that. If a person is misgendering you once, you can educate them. If a person is misgendering you again, okay, fine, honest mistake, educate them. But if it's happening constantly, you have to correct them. And it's your right to correct them. And if in case they're still not understanding, you can always take help from your HR. And you can approach the HR by contributing, say, hey, I can help you to raise more and more awareness. Or maybe tell them that my expectation is that people respect my pronouns and my gender. And that's where the HR will take necessary actions to ensure that you are included in the organization. Apart apart from that, if you identify as a transgender person, there are a lot of laws which protect you, right? If someone is, not giving you a job opportunity just because you're trans, you can actually go and take legal help. So be aware around the Trans Act, which is very, very important. And yes, stand up for yourself. Sometimes, you have to give the people the mirror that you face. You have to let them know, hey, you are wrong. You're hurting me. And there's nothing wrong in that. And yeah, there's a way to communicate that as well. We can't be, in a fighting mode all the time. We have to communicate in a better manner, because we also have to understand that there are a lot of people who have not been educated around this particular topic. So I always say that, people are not homophobic because they are a human being like that. They hate people. No. They become homophobic because they were not given the right education at the right time. They were not being taught all of this during their school days. And just let's accept it that everyone did not get the education around LGBTQ community. Even us, we had to do our own research and education around accepting ourselves. So yeah, as you are from the Pride community, take a step up and ask from the organization what you want. And if in case the organization is not listening to you, there's always an option to leave, right? Because sometimes organizations just make you wait. Hey, we are working on it. I think the maximum timeline for any organization should be around 3-4 months. They have to get back to you telling that, this is what we are doing. If they're not doing anything, of course, they don't have the right intentions. That would be my answer. So don't tolerate that organization. Leave and put a feedback in the community that they are not doing this.
Intolerant behavior beyond a point is not anyone else's problem but their own. And that was very, very well said. And Ankita, I do want to ask you about dating and relationships, because we all want to feel some kind of love. We're all seeking closeness and connection, and this is no different we're all people and we all want that. So when it comes to dating and relationships, what kind of advice would you give to members of the community, especially those that feel like they may never find love?
I want to talk more on this, Nirja, if you're fine, and I want to break down some reality checks for within our community as well. First, within the community, we have to become more inclusive about people and their struggles, right? We have made our own set of perception that, hey, this is how my life partner would look like, or this is what I want. And I've seen there's a lot of, hate for people. Fat shaming is quite normal in the community. People are not very inclusive to date someone who's not out yet. Yeah, there are some risks over there, but we have a lot of filtration. As a part of the community, right, we have to understand that coming out journey is very different for everyone, and it actually comes up with a privilege. I was privileged enough, I was educated enough, I could take some risk and I could come out, and I was having a supportive family, right? There are other people out there who might not be out because they might be having a lot of parental pressure. They might not be stable mentally themselves to take that level of risk, where they are facing next level exclusion from their family member. They are not having funds and then they come out. Every coming out journey is very, very difficult, right? So appreciate everyone from the community. They all have love to give. They all will love you. Leave all the filtration. I know that we want to date a certain set of people. We have always dreamt of my dream girl, my dream boy, dream partner, right? We always have those dreams. So sometimes we have to understand that people might not be in the space that you are in. The other thing is love can be found if you are ready to love yourself, right? It's with everyone. It's not just from the community. If you're unable to love yourself, how can you expect someone else to love you? So first start with your loving yourself, accepting yourself, and then expecting from the world to accept you and as well as love you. Yeah, and in the community, relationships are successful. I've seen so many relationships in my community journey. I've seen two lesbian women adopting a kid, not together but individually. I've seen gay men living for almost 40-50 years together. I have seen so many successful relationships, and it's possible. So you just have to be patient. You'll find your love, and it's all about waiting. And I want to share about my dating life. I felt that I'll be ending up alone, but I'm in a very successful, loving relationship with my partner for over 4 years. I'm so much in love with her, and it just happened surprisingly. I never thought that I would date a woman like her, but we fell in love so much because we were open to accept the other person and give them that space. And I want to talk that my partner is not out, and I understand why. I think everyone has to understand and respect someone's privacy when it comes to relationship. And my advice to you is be patient, love yourself, anyone else will love you, and you will get more people. And we are growing on a daily basis, by the way. As awareness is increasing, people are coming out more, and they don't wanna live a sacrificed life like before, like we used to see a gay man getting married to a woman because they're being forced by family. But those cases are reducing, so there'll be more people from the community out and proud, so you'll have more pool to date. Yeah, I think that would be my honest answer.
That's the ultimate goal. And this also, in a way, Ankita, links back to the trauma you were talking about, right? And how much of a support system you have, or how you've experienced love, or how you've experienced heartbreak, and just really taking a chance and running with it is the best way to go. And the universe will surprise you. So when it does come to the community, there are deep-seated insecurities, traumas, and other anxieties. It's something we all face, and these can be especially elevated for someone from the queer community who can't find queer-friendly spaces. There are still spaces around the world, around your city, that you can't really turn to for a sense of community. So how can they find help?
Okay, there are queer affirmative therapists they can always go to. But Neerja, there's very important point that I want to mention here is, you see me very confident today. Like I'm talking to you, I'm sharing my heart out. But I still have unresolved issues which was given by the world to me. I was brutally bullied in school, brutally bullied in college, and I've still not moved on from that. I've still not moved on from, some of my relatives gave their back to me, that they don't love me, they don't accept me, and I still have a fear of losing people in my life because of my sexuality. Sometimes you can't help the situations, right? The only thing that you can help is taking action. And people from the community, because there are lack of opportunities for queer community, like if you see a transgender person goes through a lot of hate, a lot of exclusion, but they are not that financially stable to take help, mental help, because it's expensive. Queer affirmative therapists are expensive and mental health is expensive. So that's where community support groups have been formed in a lot of cities and, groups. So now if I see in Gujarat, we have Gujarat Community Center where people from the queer community, they come together and discuss about their issues and support each other. The same case with Humsafar Trust, Solidarity Foundation. There are a lot of foundations which are already existing where they have released their helpline numbers for safety and security. Plus, they also provide a lot of events to you where you can meet your potential people from the Pride community or allies too. But yeah, if you need more and more support, there are pages like Yes We Exist which helps you out with living out, connecting you with right people, connecting with the right communities. I think that's where it will help. But yeah, I would say, Neerja, as we talk about mind matters, right?
Yeah.
Even if you grow up, you'll never be able to forget, man. Like I am unable to forget a lot of hate given to me, and I sometimes have my lowest days. I still have my lowest days. I cry sometimes because I, lost my relative. They actually passed away, but before passing away, a month before, they said, "You are dead to me." And then they left, and I couldn't even get a chance to tell them, "Hey, it's not my mistake."
Yeah.
I wish, people would accept us without us coming out, without us justifying for who we are, because we can't completely change who we are. And if there was something to change in the world like this, I would have changed myself, because just accept this. We are excluded. We don't have legal laws. We don't have adoption rights. We've struggled to find a partner. We struggle to convince people who wants this life, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you have when you are growing up as a queer child. I would just say that I would have given this answer properly to you, but I myself a victim of this and I'm still struggling to it. I'll not be able to, give a very honest answer on this, but yeah. I'm being vulnerable here. Sorry.
No, Ankita, I think being vulnerable and feeling the feelings is really what this podcast is all about. We all have these traumas, we all have these things that we probably can never let go of. For now, just one final question as we wrap things up. How do you think, this is a learning curve for everybody listening in. How can non-members of the community be better allies to those around them from the community?
Yeah, so the main thing I want to convey over here is don't rely on people from the community to educate you around our community. If you would have asked me this question in 1990s, I would have educated you from my end. But now in the era of Netflix, Hotstar or any OTT platform, YouTube being free to everyone, research reports are being released by a lot of companies. I think do your own homework before approaching, because you are not educating yourself just because Ankita Mehra is queer or there are, other people who are queer. You will never know that a family member is of yours, or maybe your own son or your own child will be queer. So you're not doing this because this is the need of the hour. You're doing this because you're an awesome human being. You want to be an inclusive human being. So my advice to you is, please protect us, support us, and be there for us. And as well as do it with the right intention. Sometimes we feel that, okay, I am an ally because I'm in the organization. My organization has ERG. I talk a lot about Pride community. We release our logos, whatsoever. No. You have to be an ally as an individual and learn that and appreciate that. And that takes a toll, right? Because it took a lot of years for me to accept myself, and I understand it will take some time for you to also understand our community. So yeah, take that time, embrace each and every moment of it, and be educated and be aware of what is happening in the community in India. Until and unless you're not hear the lived experience and lived stories, you'll always be able, never be able to relate to what we are going through. The other thing to allies is utilize your privileges. You have seen that you're privileged to get married, to adopt, you have wonderful policies in the companies whatsoever. Use this to upbring someone, like donate it to transgender people, donate your laptops to transgender people, or maybe help them with donating some money, or not just money, teach them a skill, how they can get placed in the organization. Volunteer your efforts for Pride community. Come join us with our Pride walks. Come in a Pride walk with us and make us invite in your place. Invite us for your dinner to have, meet your family and your kids. Are you scared to introduce us to your kids? Then you are not an ally. That's the only thing I would like to say. So it's a journey. Embrace it and you'll be there.
I think people forget how much there is to be learned and experienced if you just accept and embrace everybody. And anybody that doesn't have a seat at their table for someone from the community is really, really missing out. I think that's really all we can say. And Ankita, this was truly a very revealing and wonderful conversation to have. And I think this is a step in the right direction, especially as we talk about matters of the mind. This is such an important part of that. So thank you so much for coming on board, for being yourself, for being your confident self and educating us a little bit more. And I hope we get to have this conversation with you maybe over dinner sometime.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
And that's a wrap on this second episode of Randstad India Talent Pod presents Mind Matters. This series where we openly discuss matters of the mind will continue. There's a lot more coming your way, so make sure to come back for the next one. Until then, it's bye-bye for now.
Randstad India Talent Pod presents Mind Matters.